PocaTV.
Hey.
Hey,
Hi.
hey. It's always such a stressy moment starting this show because there's so many things I'm doing while I'm starting the show. Let me see if I properly shared it on Facebook. DJ, hold on, give me a second. These things are such a nuisance. I need somebody to help me with this, really, in future. Yes, it's there. I haven't tagged you yet. Let me tag you quickly if you allow me. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
Yeah?
Feels like it's 43 degrees right now.
Oh, it's same here. Is sweltering a verb? I am sweltering. Is that English?
Yeah, I think everyone would understand that. Yes, it is
What
sweltering
would be
hot.
the proper way to say it?
I'm um I'm very hot. I'm sure there's a better word than that, but that's the one I
I'm
got.
sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
We must linger very shortly on the BBC scandal with Hugh Edwards, the newsreader who brought the whole world through that entire week of Queen Elizabeth II
Yes.
being buried, and we all loved him and we all revered him and we all thought he was the nation's daddy. And it turns out he is the one that has been, uh, you know, paying a lot of money to minor people to send him sex pictures. And he's done a whole lot of stuff, DJ. What is
It's
the world coming to?
well, it makes me wonder: is there how many presenters are left who are actually innocent of this kind of thing?
Well, that was the funny thing because when the news broke, I think it was a week ago. Suddenly, all kinds of BBC presenters were tweeting, "It wasn't me. It wasn't me." My
Yeah.
mommy always taught me, if it wasn't you, just sit in your corner and do what you're doing because if you say it wasn't me, I'm gonna suspect you.
That's what Lineker said. Gary Lineker said it wasn't me. I remember
He
on a
wasn't the only
tweet.
one. Many of them
Yeah,
said it. So
yeah.
anyway, that's another great man fallen, and one has to ask the question, to become a great man, must one be a creep of the sexual kind? I ask you, you're a man and you're great.
Well, Jim, oh, bless you, Jimmy Savile. I never regarded him as great. I think a lot
No.
of people did, but he was the one that started the ball rolling, if you like, in these recent times of
Hmm.
indecency
Yeah,
um, whilst on the job.
I know. I
You
got,
know,
I, let's not even dwell on the whole thing. It's sordid. I'm disappointed, blah, blah, blah. But there's good
mm,
news because look who's in the chat already. It's my big friend Kabuma at Kuru on her travels from Jamaica via New York to Egypt, where she's going to go straight Kemet. Lovely that you're watching us, Kabul. I hope the travels are going fine. I hope they're not giving you too much headache with your visa and all of that. Isn't it fun, DJ? She's here watching.
big up, Kabu, running African.
Running African every Sunday morning on IRI
Yeah,
FM, telling the
mm,
world about what's going on from an African perspective for once.
yeah.
Well, you and I have both chosen a subject. Yet again, this is our sixth Wenzzzday Ting, DJ. Can you
Is it
imagine?
six?
It's number six already. Yeah.
My word, my word.
And
Yeah.
I guess today is going to be, I'm going first because I really don't want to linger so very much on it because actually it's boring, but I really cannot leave it unmentioned. I'm sure that you've heard that Dutch politRixx are adrift yet again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, briefly, what happened, it's all his fault. Everything wrong in life is his fault. This is the former Prime Minister Mark Rutte. I must say former because he stepped down on Monday after blowing up cabinet on Friday, making it very hard for me to have any viewers for the first episode of my new television program, I must say, because everybody was watching this instead of watching my program. Never mind. The top picture, the big smile, is how he likes to portray himself. The bottom picture is what we've seen of him for the past 13 years. Big nose, telling lies all the time, forgetting stuff, pretending it wasn't him. It's never his fault. So what actually happened is it's all about the reason he made the cabinet implode was that suddenly he will not allow proper family reunion of refugees actually on the, running from war and destruction and all that. Just to give you some perspective, let's quickly look at a small video that tells the whole story so I can move on from there. All right?
April, I want to start with this hothead just crossing the terminal now with the Prime Minister saying he will leave politics. What do you make of that?
Yes, I mean, it's quite shocking news. I mean, as you said, happened as we speak. We knew that a debate was taking place in Parliament about the collapse of the coalition government. And Rutte did face a vote of no confidence in Parliament. And yeah, so we had not expected that he was going to announce he would leave politics coming in live now. But that is the news that we're hearing.
What was the migration dispute that again ended with just moments ago learning that the Dutch Prime Minister will leave politics?
Yes, so Mark Rutte had given his coalition partners an ultimatum to limit the right for family reunions for refugees from war zones, and that would set the limit at 200 people per month for a period of up to 2 years. And according to people familiar with the matter, Mark Rutte had put himself in a position that could have only ended in one way: the collapse of his four-party coalition agreement. The coalition partners were said to be nearing an agreement last week, at the start of the week, and then abruptly on Wednesday, Rutte introduced non-negotiable demands, and the talks then later failed and ended due to irreconcilable differences.
Yeah, irreconcilable differences. She had trouble saying it, so it's okay if I can't say it either. Irreconcilable differences.
Right.
But this is orchestrated. Oh, this is so orchestrated. He was facing he was facing all kinds of trouble. They wanted to kick him out. He doesn't like the group of four parties that he is running the country with, which is these people, four parties in total. You see him circled in orange, and the lady on the top, Mirjam Bikker, who is a Christian Union parliamentarian. She's actually the only one who had any spine and said, look here, this is beyond all things ethical, and we are just not going to agree with it. And they are one of the parties in Parliament, so I guess she had a lot of weight. And big up Mirjam Bikker for doing this. And I cannot even understand how a country like the Netherlands, that's always been famed, maybe through their own doing, for being this great country where everybody can be themselves and we accept everybody, blah, blah, blah. And then you're going to specifically target children from war zones. It's not even true what he says, because it's all about migration, as you can imagine. And he's right-wing politics, so he's not a fan of migration, and his party really isn't. But the thing is, the numbers in migration are not from refugees. The big numbers is from people coming here to work for a tiny little bit of pay. These are people coming from Eastern Europe and other countries like that, who come here and are actually, yes, they are inhabiting houses that maybe Dutch people need at the moment as well. But why are we not building houses? We're not building houses because we have a nitrogen crisis, because the farmers in the Netherlands need to really stop their megalomanic kind of farming, because they are producing too much pollution and they are killing this earth. And because of the nitrogen thing, we are not building now, because nitrogen is involved in building. And the nitrogen thing is Prime Minister Rutte's party who got us in that situation.
Oh dear, good grief! So it's backfired on him.
It's backfired. No, he backfired on us, because everything I'm telling you is really not new. It's been there for a couple of years. It's not the first time that his cabinet imploded. And it's always about one of these crises I'm talking about. And now,
Go on.
No, you asked me a question before I explode.
So Mark Rutte personally he wanted to limit the number of immigrants
Of
from
immigrant children following their parent who already has
right.
a status in the Netherlands.
And I think of the UK because the UK has been going through a similar kind of thing where they're clamping down on the grounds there are too many non-genuine asylum seekers trying to enter the country and entering illegally, and they've had this arrangement with Rwanda. They say if you enter, but the courts have overruled that as
of course they have. Yes.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, is this a similar kind of
totally
concept?
similar. It's totally similar. You know, when I hear people complain about their country going right wing, I have to keep telling them, look here, it's not just your country. It's the entire world. Even Jamaican Prime Minister, what's his name, Holness, is totally right wing in his way.
Yeah.
So it's all over the world. And it's very, very alarming. I don't know why nobody's sweating the way I am all day.
It's scary. It's very scary.
Very scary.
And you look at what happened in America. Trump, very right wing. Biden comes in, who is the opposite. He's very left wing, and America's is falling to pieces. You know, it's a shambles. What's going on there?
It's a shambles. Let's see. We got some comments. Let's see if people are saying anything. Kabu says, "Big up DJ." And Adrienne is saying, "Hi, Adrienne. Glad to see you in the room." And there is Rosalind. Good evening, Rosalind. Thank you for joining. Tell us what you think about this right-wingization of the world. People in the comments, make us know what you think.
I mean, I was going to go on to talk about coalitions because, as you say, Mark Rutte's party is part of a coalition of four parties. Is it? I think you said
4 parties.
And coalitions always make the ruling. It's always vulnerable. You know, you only need one part of the coalition to fall to disagree with something, and all of a sudden it's chaos, and you have to hold another general election. Look at what's happened in Israel. Classic example, because of the very, very delicate, fragile coalitions. They've had about 6 general elections in the space of something like 2 years. It's madness.
Well, this cabinet of ours is only 18 months. It took forever for them to form after the last elections, and they've been there for 18 months now. And there you go, boom, done.
But I was going to go on to say with Israel, the coalition there now is the most right wing it's ever been. Hence, what you saw in Jenin, in the Jenin camps the other week, because I'm not so sure that would have happened if it wasn't such a right wing. Right wing politics in control in Israel, just as an example. But I think Rutte's walking away from it. He doesn't want to have anything to do with this anymore, does he?
So why didn't he leave us the hell alone at the last elections? He knew what he was up against. He knew that he was going to...
Because he did deal, but that's what you do with coalitions. You do deals with your coalition partners.
No, this is power craze. Power craze.
Yes, of course. He did deals with them so that to keep him in power. He said, if we will give you this if you back us so that we can govern. And now, he's backfired on himself, which is, to coin what you said.
Yeah. He backfired on us. On us, the people. I don't care what happens to him. He did this. So we got elections in November now, and then it's going to be an endless forming of a new coalition.
So do you actually have a prime minister at the moment?
No, they call it demissionary. I'm just doing a Dutchism here. So So what they're going to do, they're going to limit the number of legislation that will pass in the coming months, stuff that really needs to be done. And the rest, first of all, they're probably going to go on holidays. I don't know. What do I care? Why would I even go to elections anymore? Why? You tell me.
Well, exactly. That too. I mean, if you don't like any of the parties, what's the point?
It's not that I don't like the parties. It's that I don't like the system. In the Netherlands, we got about 20 parties. That we got 17 million people. That's too many parties. And then it's all about money. when are we going to stop with the notion? Sorry, when
No,
are we
go
going to
go
stop
for it.
with
Go
the
on.
notion that the one thing that a country needs to do is to grow economically? How big do you want to get? When is enough enough? Is
It's
what I
never
ask
enough.
you.
But the power
No, but
crazed is never enough, is it?
and that's the problem. We need a new paradigm. I've been saying this for 30 years now, and nobody's listening to me except probably Kabu. Sometimes she listens to me. Most of what I know from her. So, but anyway, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
We back down to capitalism, DJ. It's going to be the theme every single week. It's all this. It's all down to that. It's money, 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 money.
Well, yeah, that's what capitalism. That's how capitalism works. It wouldn't work without that. It works
But it didn't used to be this bad. I
it
mean,
thrives.
when you
Capitalism thrives on inequality. Without inequality, capitalism can't survive. So
yes,
it expects there to be more poverty.
but when did it get so very bad? Because you and I were young at some distant point in time, and the world was capitalist then, and it did we just not know, or did we not see it, or wasn't it as bad as it is now? I don't know. You tell me.
Well, back then I didn't show too much of an interest in. I was young, and I didn't really show too much of an interest to even try and
Oh,
understand it. But I do remember growing up in the UK when I was a teenager in the 70s. It was very much left-wing socialist governments, and even though it was kind of capitalist, it was all about rights for the workers, rights for the unions. And then Thatcher came along,
yeah,
and that change, that was a game changer completely.
it was. Cabo adds to
Everything.
Cabo adds to the mix. It's now stakeholder capitalism, where the only stakeholders are the private sector capitalists. And now,
Oh
if
yeah,
you talk about Prime Minister Rutte, that's the only people he really cares about is the private sector capitalists.
well, it makes him rich as well, gets him
It
richer.
it does. It does. It does.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
anyway.
it's all self-centered when it comes down to it.
But
When you're prime minister or
look here.
president,
I did not make babies, right? So if I
yeah,
die tomorrow, no skin of my back. But all these people have children, and I ask you, what world are they leaving behind for their children and their grandchildren if this is the way the world is going to be run? We first of all, the earth is going to die. It's dying. It's crying. It's screaming. It's kicking, and nobody gives a damn. But then, when I talk morals, which is a great segue into your topic, which we'll get into
man, I
in
was
just a
about to say,
second,
yeah.
morals are at the heart of this, and morals are gone, DJ, and that makes me
Morals
really,
and
really sad.
ethics, and those politicians. I'm presuming in the Netherlands, to become an MP, you have to sign up to ethics.
Mhm. But
And
look here. You can sign, and then you say, well, yes, I did sign it, but the situation has changed, and everybody
yeah,
believes you, and nobody chops off your head, which is what should happen. I
yeah.
believe, and that's what I think I was brought up to believe, that I believe that when you have a very responsible position, like a politician, you're not there because you're so great. You are there because people put you there, right? That's what elections
Yeah,
are. So your
yeah.
responsibility is huge. And I think if you can slip up once, anybody can do that, but you cannot slip up year after year after year and then say, yeah, but I forgot that happened. Yeah, I have no recollection of that. Yeah,
No,
well, I'm
that's
sorry,
yeah, but
but
that
I'm
comes
not
down
doing
to
anything about it.
these
Hmm?
people need to be held to
To
accountability.
account. Yes. And they don't need some little posh job after this, because, of course, Rutte hasn't said what he'll be doing. He's out of politics, is all we know.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of lucrative little job is
Well,
waiting for him.
look. Blair made more money after he stopped being prime minister.
So did
As an
Obama.
example,
So does you know what?
yeah.
That's the reason why those real diehard politicians are in politics in the first place, because they know that after their 4 or 8 years, maybe 12, they're gonna get a really posh job. That's why.
Absolutely. And even Boris he's already got jobs back working
There you go.
newspaper columns
There you
again.
go. Enough of
you know.
this. Enough of this. Let us switch to
Well,
your
okay,
topic.
okay, all right. Well, my topic is I think denigration is perhaps the right word. A downward spiral in civility and courteousness.
Courteousness. There you go. I was talking about morals just a while ago. There you go. This is
Yes.
all. This is it. All
Well,
right. So
I wouldn't say it's dead. It's in going in that direction. It's dying.
yes, but you know, people sitting in the train and this comes by, they see Curtis is dead. They will click on the video.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
I can do what Babylon does. You know, I use their
Yeah,
same
man, yeah.
tactics.
Yeah,
So
right, okay.
tell us what makes you. First of all, before we get into your thingy, let us define courteousness. And you have so very kindly come up with a video that we can show that makes it easy, even for the people way in the back of the classroom.
I'm Murray from Sesame Street, and I'm looking for the word on the street. What's the word on the street?
Courteous.
What does it mean to be courteous?
To be polite and nice.
And respectful. And you use manners.
How can you act courteous?
Saying please and thank you. Open the door for someone. Or giving up your chair. It means that you're polite. It means kind.
Courteous means to be nice to people.
It means like you have manners.
What do you do to be courteous?
You could help people or share with them.
If someone's in my way, I would say excuse me and I wouldn't push them.
Chew with your mouth closed.
Table manners.
To say please and thank you.
If someone gives you a compliment, like if they say, oh, I like your hat.
Courteous.
Yeah, man.
Courteousness is, well, why did you want to talk about the lack of courteousness in so many people these days?
Well, because I just hear and see and read about it all the time. This is a good platform to chat about it. There's one thing I on that clip that made me think of a different angle, and it was the one about holding a door open. A man holding
Why
a door
is
open.
the little boy doing it for the girl?
No, but hold on. In this age of where women want to, or giving up a seat on the bus or a train for a woman, but it occurred to me, women want equality, and they want more equality, and apparently a lot of women do not like men opening the door for them because it goes against their objectives to becoming more equal to men.
True.
And
I can understand. I don't say, it depends on how the guy does it. There are these guys that really go out of their way. Let me open the door for you. Here, have a seat.
Oh, no, that's
because
creepy.
They feel chivalrous, and they feel like I am maybe incapable of standing 5 minutes in the bus or opening the door by myself. It all depends. If it's all witty and charm, I don't mind people opening the door for me. I open the door for other people as well.
I mean, I just use it when it happened to me, and I was on the tube train in London, and there were no seats available, but there was a woman standing in front of me. She had heavy bags or something. I just used to get up and go like that. I didn't even need to say anything. And then they smiled and said thank you, and that was it.
Yeah, I like what they did in Brazil. They didn't get up for you, but they said, "Give me your bags. I'll hold your bags for you." That's a nice twist.
Okay. Okay. Pardon me for being a cynic, but if you did that, perhaps elsewhere, people might think they're not going to get their bags back, and they're going to run off with them and get off the train at the next.
You see how our morality is totally down the drain.
But this is the way people think. It's very sneaky, and everything is like a plan. They have an ulterior motive. I mean, P's and Q's, pleases and thank yous, that they have to be the most obvious and easy things in politeness.
Definitely.
But the amount of times that, particularly in thank yous,
nobody says thank you.
No,
nobody says thank you anymore.
And this is because, and one of the reasons I think this is because there's this entitlement mentality. People think they are entitled to something.
So who put that into their heads?
Well, look, you feel massively
Mark
out.
Rutte did.
Right, okay. The entitlement brigade. you feel massively put upon when other people ask you for small favors, but expect that when you ask people for favors, it's no big effort. You expect other people to be more interested in you and what's on your agenda than interested in them and what's on their agenda. In other words, you feel that the world owes you a living, basically, more.
So that means the world is full of narcissists.
Well, it is. It is. But
So
I think
how did we get there? That's what I want to know. I want to know, how did we get there, and how do we get away from it?
I think a lot of it is to do personally with permissiveness with parents. With parenting,
Okay, elaborate.
Well, because they allow badness, bad thing. They allow their children to say "f you," for example, and they don't reprimand them.
Yeah, I think the parents themselves need to go back to school and to learn how to be polite.
Well, because I think it is generational. Because I think in that example, that child's parents of today, that's how they how they were brought up and lived. I think that something happened, at least in the Western society, after the 60s. I think.
Yeah, let's blame the hippies. Let's always blame the hippies.
No, I'm not blaming the hippies. Yeah.
No, I do blame the hippies. Talk about entitled bunch of little no goods. They filled their pockets after those 60s. Those same people who were so very much against society and against all kind of protocol and whatever not. They are the ones who most filled their pockets in the years.
Steve Jobs
following.
and Bill Gates, probably classic examples.
There you go. And those people are they're quite old now, so maybe we'll get rid of them at some point soon.
Jobs has gone, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. But it stretches so far, this entitlement thing, this rudeness thing. It even goes to what we now call polarization. I really hate that word because nobody uses it properly. But what they mean by it is, parties against each other. And the thing is, you used to be, one of the reasons I became a journalist was because I love a good, I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it a polemic or a polemic?
Polemic, I think
polemic, yes.
Former, yeah.
A polemic. When you are based on arguments, you have a lovely conversation that can really spark fires and all of that. That does not exist anymore. Anytime somebody says, no, you are wearing red instead of purple, you get into big fights and you get into screaming situations.
It's shouting matches, slanging matches. Isn't it? The decibels are risen just because you want to get you want to get your voice overheard. Your point is always more important than the other person's point.
That's all fine by me as long as you can come up with proper, data, proper facts, proper whatever to substantiate what it is you're saying.
A credible argument. Yeah.
Right. But that's gone down the drain as well.
I beg your pardon?
That's gone down the drain as well.
Absolutely. When I was living in London and I had some neighbours upstairs. I was living in an apartment. And there was an apartment directly above mine. And one Thursday night, about midnight, they were playing very loud music and had lots of people jumping up and down on their wooden floors, which reverberated through me. And I actually phoned him and said, it's Thursday. I've got to get up early the next morning. I've got work. And he just said, it's okay. You're invited. There's a drink with your name on it. Come up and join us. And I'm thinking that was his reaction. No, sorry. Or no, we will try and keep it down or anything like that. It was if they weren't doing anything wrong.
Right. That's it. And by offering you a drink, they just, keep their own conscience clean.
Yeah, it's all about trying to keep their own conscience clean. Because
they really did not want you at their party. They just offered you the drink so you would just shut up.
If they wanted me at the party, they would have pre-warned me they were having it and even invited me earlier.
Given you an invite, proper invite. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, but I think this leads on to a reason why a lot of people have a problem with saying thank you to things. Because it's a conscience thing. If by not saying thank you, means I'm not acknowledging you've done something for me, making me feel better, knowing I don't have to give something back.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
And that really sucks for me. That really does suck.
It does. It does. I'm seeing Carlene watching us. Hi there, Carlene, watching us from Jamaica. How lovely of you to join in. And Adrienne is still lingering on the capitalism thing, saying it's a logical replacement for slavery. It's exactly that. It's exactly that.
Yeah,
it's exactly that. And what does Cabo have to say about apologies? Now they want us to apologize to them when they offend us. That's exactly right.
No, exactly.
Cabo,
exactly.
The number of times people say the most horrendous things to me, and that's when I bite back, I let them go for a while. But when I bite back, it's them crying. And then I have to go and console them, Cabo. I'm sick and tired of this thing.
There's recently over the last few years, I've observed a lot on WhatsApp text messages to me, or even certain Facebook posts where people sign off what they're saying with the words manners and respect, instead of saying, some people say kind regards, yours sincerely, or cheers, or thanks, or whatever. Manners and respect, and
that's a Rasta thing.
For me, is that where it originates from?
Yeah.
Okay, but the way it's been, where I've seen it, hasn't been from Rastas. It's been
no, they copycat.
It's another thing that's been stolen.
Yeah.
It's a way of deceiving themselves into thinking, saying it must mean they have good manners and show respect, and therefore they are somehow exempted from practicing polite and civil behaviour. And my observation, the reality is, these are the people who tend to be the worst offenders.
Of course, because it's like offering you that drink. They said manners and respect. We're covered there, and now we can be our beastly selves.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to know how we're gonna turn this around, because the world definitely used to be a better place. I'm not saying it was perfect, but it used to be a better place.
Well, I think education has to be an obvious solution.
Yeah, but let's not educate them in the system that we're educating them now, because that's what you get.
It doesn't have to be the current system, but it's still education. And I think education, and I also think music can play a part, because
we did that last week. Yeah, but
but we did not on this part specifically. I think if well, kind of, yeah. When we talk about dancehall, but I think there is a responsibility for lyrics to be conducive to better, to be behaving in a more in a better decorum,
civil way. Yeah,
in a civil way. And yes, you're right. When we go back to the bounty killer thing that we were watching, that has the complete opposite effect. And that isn't going to help anything or anyone. Yeah. I
wonder, Cabo, if you're still there, Cabo, I wonder if it would be feasible, because last week we talked about the difference between dancehall and reggae, and the implications of the music. And we were asking ourselves, it used to be, I'm saying 10 years ago, it used to be 80% uplifting music that I heard on the radio, and 20% of the idiot music that we're hearing now, and it's switched. And I was wondering, do radio stations have any power in that area? If you could kindly respond to that, Cabo, I wonder what your thoughts are.
That's a really interesting thing, because as you know, I used to work in radio. You used to work in radio as well.
Yes.
And in radio, ratings is everything.
It didn't used to be. There you go. At some point in my career, yes, ratings were important, but it was more important that, you were the first to play a new tune. You knew more about the artist.
Content was the more important thing.
Yes, I think when we started calling everything content is when it went down the drain. It used to be called a program. I will never call what we do here content. It's a program.
That stems from the internet.
Yes. Content. But I think, because my sister makes a very valid point. She's talking about the influencers. Yeah. Since I don't know if you know that, but in right here in Europe, you cannot watch a talk show these days about any topic without some silly influencer being at the table talking as if they know what the heck they are saying.
Yeah, and most of the time they believe in all the conspiracy theories out there as well, which most of them being debunked. But
exactly. Cabo says it's the frequency that has changed. The frequency that tunes come by, I think you mean, Cabo.
Rotation.
Even the broadcast the rotate and more hours to be filled, all of that. I think that's what you mean. I would look at frequency.
Even the broadcast frequency has changed. I would look at so she's talking about, you know, a tune that could have been played twice in a day is now being played 6 times in a day, for example.
That's what I'm getting from what she says. I hope you're right.
But the thinking behind that is still about ratings.
It is. It's all about some little old people sitting in a dark office on the top floor thinking they know what it is that people want to hear and giving it to them. But I don't think it's about music. I think it's about power, and I think it's about money. And that's what I think that music on the radio has become, which is why we are so very thankful for you for doing. Akabu saying, no, it means the music is tuned into another frequency. Yes, the vibrations, Kabu, that you talk about in your program. The world is vibrating at certain frequencies, DJ. I think I agree with Kabu on that. And for some reason, we are in a different kind of vibration now, which is a vibration of aggression and of self-indulgence of narcissism.
But when it comes to radio, that so-called aggression, or I'll go back to content, is completely controlled by the executives who sit around and say, what tunes are we going to put on the playlist?
Yes, and those execs are really not interested in the music at all.
I agree.
They are interested in who's making money on the music, who they can influence with that music, how they can get people to be polarized. There we go again with that disgusting word.
They're interested in their own payola as well. In the radio state, it's common knowledge that they are paid money to put by record companies to make sure that this tune hits the playlist, etc. And so it's corruption as well, because that's corruption.
Well, it's malpractice. Yeah.
That's true. And again, it's unethical.
Look at what Cabo said. Dancehall in Jamaica is being in Thailand, and it's being purchased by the artists. So they buy the tune and they put their name on it and they sell it.
No, so but she's saying that. But she's not saying the artists are in Thailand. She's saying she's saying the
music is the music is being made. It's being purchased by the artists who then bring out their records, put their name on it. I know what you're talking about, Kabu. This has been happening for a while.
I don't. Is that on the par with Afrobeats, for example, where most of the music comes from Nigeria?
No, actually, I was watching. Before we started, I was watching a thing on Afrobeat. Afrobeat is actually made in a way that it's supposed to be changed by every group of people who make that music.
Right.
That's out of this. That's not for now. That's not for now.
Another time. Okay.
So there's Cabo again saying, who is creating that music? It's tuned to a whole new frequency, and we need to look into that.
But is the music coming from the streets, or is the music dictating to the streets? Which one is it?
It's not coming from the streets. It's forming what people. This was our conversation last week, DJ.
Okay.
Which comes first, the bad behavior, and that's why the music is what it is, or is it the other way around? I think it actually has nothing to do with the music per se. It has to do with vehicles of getting to people that you want to behave a certain way. That's what I believe is going on. And that's what we're seeing in your topic today about the courteousness, about the whether or not you even know you have a neighbor.
It's the thing about it's okay not to say thank you. It's okay not to say please. We don't see anything wrong with it. That's the bit that really gets me. They really believe that it's nothing wrong with it.
Well, I'll give you a lovely example that happened just today. Today, I was walking in the street here in my town, and there was a whole row of youngsters on their bikes in a pedestrian area. And I wanted to pass through, and they were chatting, they were having fun, but they are the youngsters that people always say, watch out for those youngsters. Before you know it, they rob you, they kill you. All I did was tap one on his shoulder and say, could you please get off? It's a walking area here. And he was so surprised that somebody actually tapped him on the shoulder, and then he got off. And I said, thank you. And he looked even more surprised. So probably he was trying to, what's the word? Provoke people. You know how youngsters are. They provoke. They like to provoke a thing. And what they expect is for some silly grown-up like myself to be angry with them, because that's what they get. All I did was, could you please get off? It's a pedestrian area. And when he got off, I said, thank you. Now,
and you said, and you used the word please, obviously, because you would, but
because I still know what courteousness is, and I know how far it gets you.
Because if you hadn't have said please, maybe they would have taken it a different way.
If I had said what everybody else does, yo, it's a walking area here, get the F off your bike, they wouldn't have gotten off. And now all of them got off.
Because it's
easy.
But it also shows that they do recognize when someone is being civil and courteous.
Of course they do. I think it's a natural thing.
It shows that they know when they don't say please and thank you, that it's wrong.
Of course they know, but there is no accountability. There you go again. If the politicians that we started the program with, if the politicians are not held accountable, they are the ones worldwide who should give the example to you, to me, to your children, if you have any, to your grandchildren. Because if your prime minister is a rude boy, why would you have to be courteous?
Well, exactly. Yeah. I mean, he's supposed to be a role model.
Exactly. That's all I have to say on the topic.
I mean,
Do you have anything else?
Name me one political leader, prime minister, or president which you could honestly say, I would like that person to be my role model.
Right now?
Yeah, exactly. Right now.
I can't come up with anybody. That's why I say to you, I don't know even if I will go back to the voting, because what I didn't tell you, the woman in green there, circled in green.
Yeah.
Remember what the topic was. Remember why the cabinet fell. It fell over defenseless children from war zones who are no longer welcome in the Netherlands. This woman here, who today announced that she will be running for party leader, she herself is the child of people who fled from war.
Okay,
And she is the hardest of the whole bunch. And that's what we're going to get as the next prime minister.
Well, good for her.
No, not good for her. Make her sod off.
Well,
she's a hardliner. She's the one going.
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood. Sorry, you were saying she's being hypocritical. Right, okay, I misunderstood that part. Anyway, I was going to say maybe Mia Motley is someone a leader that a lot of people look up to.
Oh, she does, yes, and she's leading the way, and she started in the Caribbean, and I cannot wait until I live there, because I'm going to definitely link up with Mia Motley if she'll have me. And we'll just have to fight this fight, GDA, because I don't know what this world is going to come to. And like I said, I don't have children, so I shouldn't care. But I have nephews and nieces, and I got, friends who have children. And this is not the way this world should end and blow up, because that's where we're heading.
No, exactly.
We need to go back to please and thank you.
P's and Q's.
P's and Q's and thank you and all of that.
And do you know why it's called Q? As a
question, like a query, is what I always thought. No.
It's because the thank you.
Oh, of course.
Like that's the actual origins of the Q. The P is obvious, but the Q, that's the real origin of it. Yeah, man, it's a nice one. Yeah.
So, DJ, we're going to end this program today, but I need to tell people watching, thank you all for being here. This is lovely to have so many people watching live and commenting and being so active. Please continue to do so. And I would normally say, please be back next week, but no, Poca is taking a proper vacation, people. I don't know when the last time was when I took real time off and went on a vacation, and I'm going to do it. I'm going back to my country of birth where I was for my television program, and I so much loved it that I'm going there with my sister Angelique, who incidentally was my guest on PocaTV Live a couple of months ago. So we'll be back on August the 2nd, right, DJ? Ja willing.
Okay, I'll put that in my calendar.
Yeah, please do. Because I will be traveling and I won't be able to. Yes, I will. I will be able to remind you. Kabu says she enjoyed the program. Thank you for watching. I sincerely hope you get to Egypt soon, Kabu.
A message to Kabu and anyone else: if you want to take part, then you're all welcome to. Just tell us what the topic is that you want to discuss. It doesn't have to be a topic that we have necessarily chosen.
Exactly.
You might have a topic that we haven't even thought about, which is brilliant.
Yes.
So let Poca know.
Let Poca know, or let DJ know, and you'll find us on YouTube and on Facebook and even on Twitter. Rosalind, thank you for watching. Thank you again.
Thanks.
And you said she wishes me a nice time in Suriname. I'm definitely going to have a wonderful time there. So everybody, thank you again for being with us. DJ, we're gonna just do what we always do, right? Say our goodbyes and remind the people we'll be back on August the 2nd.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.